President Trump's immigration crackdown closing out the year strong with record low border crossings and more than 2 million total deportations. Since January, more than 600,000 illegals have been deported by the U.S., while nearly 2 million migrants have self-deported. And it doesn't end there. Border encounters have plummeted by more than 90% compared to the years that Joe Biden was in office. Let's bring in Ron Vitiello, Senior Advisor for U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Ron, I remember a number of times when President Biden at the time said he couldn't fix the border problem, but apparently it is possible for a president to do that.
Well, now we know that leadership matters. The president has given the front line at DHS the tools and the techniques and the policy to allow them to succeed, right? So if you try to cross the border today, you are most likely going to be arrested. You will likely be prosecuted, and you certainly will be put on a path to be removed and sent back home fairly quickly. So the front line is empowered by the leadership at DHS and CBP, and they've done an amazing job in a short amount of time because the president showed them the way. He showed the world, in fact, that what he says matters, and consequences and how you patrol and control your borders with policy makes a huge difference, and the front line's paid off.
The president put out a tweet on Truth Social. Here's what he had to say. He says, crime in the United States is at its lowest levels on record. Much of that is attributable to the most successful southern border operation in history. Also, there are more people working in the U.S. today than ever before. MAGA. So a combination of employment numbers as well as border crossings. But clearly, the people, the cartels, the others who were smuggling folks into the United States got the message.
100% consequences matter, because it's not just the front line and it's not just the DHS entities, right? The Department of State allowing removal flights, ICE getting the logistics in place to remove criminal aliens and those that the worst of the worst. The Department of Justice, one cases are referred to them. Almost 100% acceptance and prosecutions for people who try to violate the border, who try to smuggle others, who try to aid and abet people who are in the country illegally. So all of those teams in the federal government working together on behalf of the citizens of the United States, making the border safer than it's ever been, and improving conditions all over the country in places like Chicago, Los Angeles, New Orleans, et cetera.
You might get some pushback on those claims from Jasmine Crockett, the Congresswoman from Texas, who is running for Senate there. Here's what she has to say about the border. Listen.
I will acknowledge that what is being reported is that border encounters are lower. I will also say that we know that this administration has not been the most honest when it comes to reporting numbers. What I can tell you is that he has invoked a very inhumane way of carrying out immigration.
So I guess she's saying that the administration is lying about the border numbers. Your thoughts?
Well, she's good at the nonsense. She's good at the rhetoric. She's not good on the facts. The facts are it's safer everywhere that our officers are operating. And the humanity is what she's talking about. These are the laws on the books. If you come into the country or are in the United States in violation of law, you're subject to be arrested. That's what the front line is doing. They're doing it extremely well. And just to prove the point, almost 2 million people have raised their hands and elected to go using their own resources. And in the CBP home app, people are using that every single day to ask for a ride home. It's not certain that when people come here, they're going to have a better life. We know for over the 4 years, people were exploited, women were trafficked, young kids were abused in all kinds of ways because the traffic at the border was unmanageable, and it affected every city and town in the United States. Now we have the rule of law prevailing in these places, and removing criminal aliens is good for everybody, including Jasmine Crockett's community.
I'm going to ask you an economics question, and you're a border security guy, and maybe not an economist, but I just want to throw this out there and see if you have a thought about it. A lot of the people who do come into this country, especially illegally, take the money that they might earn and send it back home. Well, if all that money isn't getting sent back home because so many millions of people have gone home, does that mean a better economic situation here? I mean, money is staying in the United States.
100%. We're making the roads safer by removing people who have commercial driver's license that are also in the country illegally and restricting that activity. Real wages for Americans are up across the board. So that means there are more jobs going to U.S. citizens and people who are authorized to work in the United States. That's a good thing overall for economics. And it also is the common sense approach that this president has taken. Immigration is supposed to be a benefit. Immigration into the United States is supposed to be a benefit for the people who live here. And the president is showing the way on that issue as well. He's making it safer. He's providing more opportunities for the people that are here legally.
Yeah. And besides the 2.5 million who have gone back home, a record number of violent offenders have been arrested in this country. And that's especially good news. U.S. Customs and Border Protection Senior Advisor Ron Vitiello. Sorry to cut you off, Ron. Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.